Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And boy, I've just got to report this. Just this last weekend, July 12th through 14th, 2018, we had our Preterist Pilgrim Weekend. And it was live streamed, as many of you know. And we are just so appreciative for the response. As of this morning, there have been way over 6,000 views of the Preterist Pilgrim Weekend. That is just absolutely fantastic. And we appreciate your interest. We've heard from so many of you. And yes, I'm still having trouble with my voice. Boy, just too much laughter, too much fellowship. So anyway, avail yourself of that. We appreciate so very much the wonderful, wonderful comments. One of the things that happened that we've heard from so many people, and they've said, okay, I can see that was fantastic. I'm coming next year. Okay, well, we're going to try to do the live stream again next year, but you need to be here. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, we are continuing our study of the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15. Now, virtually all futurists believe that the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 occurs and leads directly to the new heaven and new earth. That's good Jewish eschatology, by the way. You have the coming of the Lord, the judgment, the resurrection, new heaven, and new earth. Well, amillennialists and postmillennialists tell us that the new heaven and new earth is a new physical creation. The physical planet is renovated in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, with the flash of the fire. And then God recreates physical creation. I've shared with you that this doctrine of the new creation, the New Testament writers tell us that there is eschatological hope. The hope of the restoration of all things was spoken of by Moses, Samuel, and all of the prophets, Acts 3, 23 and 24. Peter's expectation of the new heaven and new earth from the Old Testament. John's expectation of the new heaven and the new earth from the Old Testament. Well, we've been looking at Isaiah 65, which is universally admitted to be the fountain from which those expectations flow. And I've been demonstrating to you, showing you from the text that Isaiah 65 cannot be talking about the end of the current Christian age. It predicted the destruction of Old Covenant Israel, leading directly to the new heaven and the new earth. That means that if you put the new heaven and the new earth into the future, it means that Old Covenant Israel remains as God's covenant people until the end of time. It demands that the Old Covenant law of Moses remains valid and binding, imposed until the end of time. You cannot separate the new heaven and the new earth from the destruction of Old Covenant Israel and the creation of a new people with a new name. All right. Let me drive that home. In Isaiah 65:17, the Lord said, "Behold, I create new heavens and new earth. The former shall not be remembered or come to mind." Now here's what you need to know about the word remember. In the Hebrew, this is zekar. And zekar can mean one of two things. It can mean simply, let me see, where did I put my car keys? Oh, I remember. There they are. It's used in that sense in the book of Deuteronomy, some 13 times. However, the word zakar also has, many commentators, many scholars have taken note of this, okay? The word zakar has a covenantal significance to it. We find over and over in the Old Testament, God remembered his covenant with Abraham. Well, look, he wasn't simply saying, oh yeah, I remember I made a covenant with Abraham, without bringing to mind the covenantal provisions, both the blessings and the cursings. And thus, when God said in Isaiah chapter 65:17, I am going to create a new heaven and a new earth. The old shall not be remembered. We have one of two choices. The physical creation, if that's what it's talking about, okay, the physical creation will not even be remembered. Well, how would that be possible? I mean, after all, if you're on the globe, if you're on the heaven, on the earth, and it's suddenly renovated, how can you not have a mental recollection of it? Is God going to just go and remove that memory? No, it's far, far better contextually to see that Yahweh was saying, the new heaven and a new earth. I will create that new heaven and new earth. The old heaven, the old earth, will not be remembered covenantally. It will lose its covenantal standing. And let me illustrate this by another incredible text. By the way, that is normally just basically ignored or maybe even not even known about. In Jeremiah chapter 3, the Lord foretold the restoration of Israel, all 12 tribes under the Messiah. Notice what he says. Now, I got to do this very, very briefly. Jeremiah 3:16. It shall come to pass when you are multiplied and increased in the land in those days, says the Lord, that they will no more say, the ark of the covenant of the Lord. It shall not come to mind, nor shall they remember it. Now watch this. Nor shall they visit it, nor shall it be made anymore. Now look, if this is not destructive to the dispensational paradigm, we are told constantly, oh, you know what? They actually know where the Ark of the Covenant is. And when the Lord comes back and they rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, the Ark of the Covenant is going to be put there. Wait a minute. Sorry. The Lord said when Israel would be restored in the kingdom, the Ark of the Covenant would not be remembered it, nor would they visit it. It would not be remembered anymore. Wouldn't bring it to mind. Wouldn't bring it to mind how? Would God, once again, to illustrate, just simply go, whoop, no more memory of the Ark of the Covenant? Well, guess what? If he would wipe away the, may I use the term, physical memory of the Ark, no wonder they wouldn't go visit it. But no, it would not be remembered covenantally. The Ark of the Covenant, meaning God's covenant with Israel contained within the Ark, would no longer be remembered. Israel would no longer be God's covenant people. Just like Isaiah 65:17 it teaches, not remembered anymore. These passages are not talking about physical realities. They are talking about covenantal realities. The old heaven and earth of Israel would be destroyed, never to be remembered covenantally. It would lose all covenantal significance and meaning. The Ark of the Covenant would not be remembered anymore. It would lose its covenantal standing. See, Isaiah 65, Jeremiah chapter 3 go hand in hand. And you cannot make it be talking about physical heaven and physical earth or of the physical ark. It's covenant remembrance. And what incredible implications are there. We'll try to talk about that just a little bit more as we continue on the flip side. In the meantime, get a copy of my book, The Elements Shall Melt with Fervent Heat, in which I discuss all of this. You see, we have to be able to key in on this covenantal language and to honor it when we're talking about the new heaven and the new earth. So go to my website, donkpreston.com, BibleProphecy.com, order a copy of the book, The Elements Shall Melt with Fervent Heat. Send me a note that you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll pay your shipping. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. We will see you on the flip side.